Oh, hello. We're now in chapter 12 of John's Gospel. But we've still got Mary and Martha, and we've also got Lazarus, and we're at Bethany. So we'll read verses 1 to 8, chapter 12, reading from the ESV. 6 days before the Passover, Jesus therefore came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, whom Jesus had raised from the dead. So they gave a dinner for him there. Martha served, and Lazarus is one of those reclining with him at the table. Mary therefore took a pound of expensive ointment made from pure nard, and anointed the feet of Jesus and wiped his feet with her hair. The house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume, but Judas Iscariot, one of his disciples, he who was about to betray him, said, "Why has this ointment not been sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor?" He said this not because he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief, and having charge of the money bag, he used to help himself to what was put in it. Jesus said, "Leave her alone, so that she may keep it for the day of my burial. For the poor you will always have with you, but you do not always have me." So we've got, well, there's many things about it. One is we've got the contrast between two people, Mary and Judas. They're completely different attitudes. But anyway, Jesus says in Bethany. Now, it's the same incident reported in Matthew's Gospel 26, verses 6 to 13. It doesn't mention Mary specifically, but it's the same teachings in there and the same lessons are in there. It's the same incident. And it's not surprising they're given a dinner in his honour. Obviously, they're rather pleased that Lazarus was raised from the dead. And it's very consistent with the picture of Luke, where Martha is busying herself doing all sorts of things and Mary is sitting at the feet of Jesus. Here we have Martha serving and Mary is worshipping. Now, one's not better than the other. Both are important. But anyway, the emphasis here is on Mary. It says took a pound or a pint of pure nard. Now, this cost roughly a year's wages. It was an awful lot of perfume to use. And she'd probably been saving this up through, of course, at least a year. And then she anoints Jesus' feet with this. Now, Jesus says she's preparing him for burial. Now, she probably did not fully realise what she was doing. But what matters is that her heart was for Jesus. And there can be times when we don't fully understand why God's asking us to do something or why we felt particularly led to do something for God. If our heart's right, if it's for God, then we should just do it. I don't mean we kiss our brains goodbye. If you know me at all, you know I definitely would not advocate that. But we don't always understand everything. And here Mary, they almost certainly didn't fully understand the significance of what she was doing. But Jesus accepted it as worship. And in the Matthew version says, what she's done will be spoken well of throughout the world. But Judas, and this is first mention of Judas in John's Gospel, pipes up, "Why have we wasted all this money? We could have helped the poor." Now, as John makes very clear here, this was just a front. He regularly helped himself to money from the money bag. And people will often put pseudo-religious or pseudo-virtuous reasons as a cover to cover up evil. We need to be aware of that. And from time to time you'll hear, if you look hard enough anyway, you'll find people who are trying to rehabilitate Judas. Oh, he wasn't so bad after all. He was quite a good man, really. He just didn't fully understand Jesus. Or other tosh. Look, the Bible paints a very bad picture of Judas. Nowhere does it speak favourably of him. So accept the biblical picture of Judas. And do all we can to avoid being like that. And as it says here, he said this supposed concern for the poor. He didn't really care about them at all. And he said, "Leave her alone, that she may keep it for the day of my burial. For the poor you always have with you, but you do not always have me. Now, see earlier that the perfume which Mary anointed Jesus with, the fragrance of it spread throughout the house. Conversely, the bad attitudes of people like Judas can spread throughout the house. We should make sure that we give off a pleasing aroma to the Lord. When he says, the poor you always have with me. Now, he's not saying you shouldn't give to the poor. He's not saying it's unimportant to do that. But you can always give to the poor. You can give today. You can give tomorrow. We are coming very close. We're a few days away now from Jesus being crucified. Not far away from that at all. Now was the time for Jesus to be anointed for burial, which is what's happening here. And there's practicalities to how much we can give, but many times doing one good thing and doing another good thing, they won't always compete with each other. Often you can do both. And these people who are complaining, and it says, I think it says in Matthew version, told them the disciples were thinking a wee bit about this isn't a heck of a lot of money to be wasting on Jesus. And Jesus says, the poor you will always have with me, with you. We can always help them, and we should help the poor, but we can always do that. We shouldn't just adopt a purely utilitarian view to things. It has to be practical, but we're not always utilitarian. If we do that, we've almost certainly missed it. So on that note, we'll stop there. Amen.